The small human colony on Epsilon Verge had only 800 people. Most worked hard every day. Some mined deep rocks. Others studied strange plants and animals. The colony sat on a quiet green planet far from big cities. Ships came once every few months with supplies and new faces. Life felt simple and safe until the Kazathar arrived. The Kazathar looked like giant insects with hard black shells and long sharp legs. They came from far stars looking for slaves to dig in their dark pits. They hated soft, weak creatures and always picked the easiest targets first. Their old rule said, break the weakest link, and the whole chain falls apart. That way fear spreads fast, and others obey without fight. One morning, bright lights filled the sky. Drop pods crashed into the central plaza. Dust rose high, and screams started right away. The Kazathar warriors jumped out fast. Their scent hounds ran ahead, sniffing everything. These hounds had 6 legs and glowing red eyes. They moved quick and never stopped. Missed a trail. The colonists gathered in fear, holding tools like shovels and cutters. No one had real weapons. The Kazathar commander stood tall on a metal platform. His mandibles clicked loud as he spoke through a translator box. We take the softest first, he said. Show us your runt now or we burn this place. Eyes turned to Elias Crow. He stood near the back of the crowd, thin and pale, with messy brown hair. Elias came to the colony 6 months ago. He worked as a botanist, studying tiny mosses in a warm greenhouse dome. He wore thick glasses because his eyes were weak. One leg stayed stiff from an old accident on Earth, so he walked with a small limp. He never joined hard work like lifting crates or climbing rigs. People called him the fragile one behind his back. No one said it mean. They just knew he belonged with books and quiet plants, not fights or heavy tools. The scent hounds locked on him fast, their noses pushed close to his clothes and skin. They growled low and wagged thin. Tails. Elias froze, heart pounding loud in his chest. 2 big Kazathar grabbed his arms and pulled him forward. He tried to stand straight, but his bad leg buckled a little. The crowd watched silent. Some looked away. Others clenched fists but stayed still. Weapons pointed at their heads kept them back. The commander stepped close and bent down. His compound eyes stared right into Elias' face. This one, he said, voice full of cold joy. This one smells slowest. This one has no fight scent. This one will break first and show your kind what happens. Elias swallowed hard, but said nothing. A third Kazathar brought out a small glowing device. The neural tag looked like a black metal coin with sharp needles. It hummed soft and evil. The commander pressed it against Elias' neck. The needles punched in deep. Elias gasped. Pain shot through his whole body like fire in his veins. The tag locked tight and started to glow faint blue. Now you carry our mark, the commander said. If you run, pain comes. If you fight, pain comes. If you die, we see it all and laugh. Elias dropped to his knees, breathing fast. Sweat ran down his face. The colonists stared. Some women cried quiet. Some men shook with anger, but no one moved. The Kazathar laughed through their clicking mouths. It sounded like dry sticks breaking. They dragged Elias to a waiting skiff. The small ship hovered low with open doors. Chains rattled as they locked his wrists and ankles. Elias looked back once. His eyes met faces he knew, friends who shared meals, neighbors who waved every morning. No one could help now. The skiff engines roared, and it lifted fast. Dust swirled around the plaza. Inside the ship, Elias sat on cold metal floor. The neural tag burned steady like a hot coal under skin. He tried to touch it, but pain flared worse, so he stopped. Guards watched him with no pity. One poked him with a stick just to see him flinch. Elias kept head down and stayed quiet. The commander walked past and stopped. He looked down and spoke again. "Kill you yet," he said. "First, we test you. We drop you on Virax Fang, a moon close by, full of ice and monsters. No food, no fire, no hope. You die there slow and we watch. Then we show picture to your people. They learn quick after that." Elias lifted head a little. "Why me?" he asked, voice small but clear. The commander tilted head. "Because you are weakest. You prove our way works. Strong species always give up their weak first. You make it easy." Elias looked at floor again. He thought of greenhouse dome with soft lights and green moss. He thought of quiet mornings, writing notes about plant growth. He never wanted to be hero, never wanted fight. He just wanted peace. Now peace felt very far. The skiff flew fast toward the dark moon. Virax Fang loomed ahead, big and jagged. Ice covered most of it. Blue-white storms swirled over sharp peaks. The gas giant above filled half the sky with swirling colors. The Kazathar opened doors. Cold wind rushed in, biting hard. Elias shivered hard, in thin colony shirt and pants. No coat, no boots, just the clothes he wore that morning. They unchained him and pushed him to the edge. Guards held him firm. The commander gave final words. "Die well, little human. Your end teaches lesson." He nodded, and guards shoved Elias out. Elias fell short, drop onto hard ice. He landed bad leg first. Pain exploded up, but he rolled quick to stop sliding. Air felt thin and freezing. He pushed up slow. Body shook all over. The skiff hovered above, lights bright on dark surface. Drones flew out, small cameras to record everything. Elias stood shaky, looking around. Nothing but black rock and white frost. Far-off shapes moved in shadows. Big shapes with many legs. He heard low growls carried on wind. His heart beat fast, but he forced breath slow. No place to run, no place to hide, just endless cold night. The first pack appeared quick. 6 shadow wargs stepped from dark. Each one big as Terran bear, thick fur dark gray, shaggy like old rugs. 6 powerful legs ended in sharp claws, low with long snouts. Infrared pits glowed faint around eyes. Venom tusks stayed hidden for now, but ready. They spread out slow, circling Elias from distance. Elias backed up step by step until back hit rock wall. No more room. He raised hands, empty palms out. "Please," he whispered. Not that they understood. Just habit from fear. The warg stopped. Growls turned deeper. One biggest warg stepped forward. Scar ran across left eye. Silver fur shone even in dark. It sniffed air, long and careful. Nostrils flared wide. Elias waited for attack. He closed eyes tight, expecting teeth and pain. But nothing came. He opened eyes again. The silver warg stood close now, nose almost touching his chest. It sniffed again, slow and deep. Then something strange happened. The big warg lowered head, gentle, and bumped Elias' chest soft, like greeting. Elias blinked hard. Confused, he looked at silver warg eyes wide. The beast rumbled low, not angry sound, more like calm thunder. The other wargs came closer. They formed loose. Ring around him, blocking wind a little. Elias felt warmth from their thick bodies. His shaking slowed a bit. Above the skiff, Commander screeched loud. "What is this?" he yelled. Drones zoomed in closer. The silver warg lifted head and looked straight up at lights. It opened jaws wide and howled long and powerful. Sound rolled across ice hills. Echoes came back from far ridges. More howls answered, one after another, dozens, then hundreds. Elias stood still, hand resting light on silver warg thick neck. Fur felt warm and rough. He did not pull away. The pack stayed close, guarding him from cold and dark. Something changed on that frozen moon. Something the Kazathar never expected. The weakest human did not die alone. The wild had started to claim him as its own. Elias lay on the cold ice for a long time after the skiff flew away. His body shook from the drop and the freezing wind. The neural tag in his neck burned steady like a small fire under skin. He pushed himself up slow. Arms trembled. Legs felt weak. The silver warg still stood close. Its warm breath touched his face. Other wargs formed a loose circle around him. Their thick fur blocked some of the sharp wind. Elias looked at them with wide eyes. He expected teeth any second, but none came. The silver warg rumbled again, low and calm. It nudged Elias's chest gentle with its broad head. Elias stumbled back one step, but stayed on his feet. He raised one hand slow. No sudden moves. The warg sniffed his palm, then pressed its nose there. Elias felt a rough, wet tongue lick once across his fingers. It did not hurt. He blinked hard, trying to understand. The biggest warg turned its head and looked at the pack. It made a short, sharp sound, like a command. The others moved closer. Elias' legs, their body heat soaked through thin clothes. Elias stopped shaking so much. He took one careful step forward. The pack moved with him. They walked slow, across the frozen plain. The silver warg stayed at his side, sometimes bumping him to keep him steady. Elias limped bad on his hurt leg. Each step sent pain up, but he kept going. He had no choice. The skiff still hovered high above. Red drone lights blinked as they watched. Elias knew the Kazathar recorded everything. They waited for him to fall, for the wargs to tear him apart. The pack led him toward dark ridges far off. Elias' breath came in white clouds. His feet hurt from bare skin on ice. He stepped on sharp rocks and winced, but the wargs stayed patient. They did not rush him. One smaller warg walked behind and pushed gentle when he slowed. Elias looked back, surprised. The small one had bright green eyes. It tilted head like it understood his pain. Elias whispered thank you, even though he knew it could not hear words like humans. After what felt like hours, they reached a low hill. The silver warg stopped and sniffed air. It lifted head and howled once long and deep. The sound rolled across the moon. Other howls answered from many directions. Elias felt the noise in his chest. It made his heart beat faster, but not from fear. Something warm grew inside him. The pack started moving again, down into a wide valley. Snow swirled thick here, but geothermal heat rose from cracks in ground. Steam curled up and melted ice nearby. The air felt less cold. Elias breathed easier. They came to a big cave mouth, hidden behind tall ice spikes. The silver warg went in first. Elias followed slow. The cave opened wide inside. Warm air wrapped around him like a blanket. Faint light came from glowing fungi on walls. Blue and green spots lit the space. The pack spread out. Some curled up on warm rocks. Others sniffed corners. Elias stood near entrance, unsure what to do. The silver warg came back and nudged him deeper inside. Pile of dried moss and old fur. Elias sank down grateful. His body ached all over. He pulled knees to chest and tried to warm hands. The wargs brought food. One by one they dropped chunks of frozen meat near him. Elias stared at the raw pieces. Blood still clung to some. He felt sick, but hunger clawed hard inside. He picked up one small piece and bit. It tasted strong and gamey, but he chewed slow. The silver warg watched him eat, then lay down close. Elias reached out careful and touched thick fur. It felt warm and soft. He stroked once. The warg rumbled approval and closed eyes. Night passed slow. Elias slept little. The neural tag sent sharp pain every few hours. He gasped each time and curled tighter. The silver warg noticed. It moved closer and rested heavy head across his lap. Warm weight helped Elias breathe deep and tried to relax. Other wargs curled around him, forming living wall against cold. Their breathing made soft rhythm like lullaby. Elias closed eyes again and let sleep take him for short times. Morning came dim and gray. Light filtered weak through cave mouth. The pack stirred. One warg brought more meat. Elias ate better this time. He found a small pool of warm water from underground spring and drank deep. His throat felt raw from cold air. The silver warg stayed near, always watching. Elias started to notice things. The beast had many old scars. One eye stayed half closed from old fight. Thick muscles moved under fur. It walked with careful power, like it ruled this place. Elias whispered name to himself. Riven. That felt right. He said it quiet. Riven turned head and looked straight at him. Elias smiled small, for first time since drop. Days blurred together. Elias learned pack ways. They hunted at twilight, bringing back fresh kills. They shared meat fare with youngest first. Elias got pieces too. He watched how they talked without words. Ear twitches, tail flicks, low growls. He tried to copy some. Riven noticed and answered back. Elias felt strange connection grow. Limped bad, but pack never left him behind. When pain from tag flared bad, Riven licked wound gentle. Saliva cooled burn a little. Elias wondered if their spit carried medicine. One evening drones came back. Small buzzing machines flew into cave. Red lights swept over everything. Elias froze. Riven stood fast and growled deep. The pack rose as one. They moved between Elias and drones. One warg jumped high and swatted first drone. It crashed against wall sparking. The others attacked fast. Drones tried to escape, but pack proved quicker. They tore metal apart with claws and tusks. Elias watched stunned. When last drone died, silence fell. Riven came back to him and bumped head against chest. Elias put arms around thick neck. He hugged tight for a moment. Riven let him. Above in skiff, the Kazathar commander watched screens. His mandibles clicked angry. The runt still lives, he said, voice sharp. The weak thing bonds with beasts. Impossible. Our mark should kill him slow, yet he stands, nervous. They expected quick death. Now fear crept in. The commander ordered more drones and scouts, but deep down he felt something wrong. The moon no longer felt empty. Elias sat by warm vent that night. Riven lay beside him. Pack slept close. Elias looked at glowing tag on neck. It still hurt, but less sharp. He touched it careful. Pain came, but bearable. He whispered to Riven, "You saved me." He did not expect answer, but Riven lifted head and rumbled low. Sound felt like promise. Elias leaned against big body and closed eyes. Far off more howls rose. Distant packs heard call. They moved toward valley, drawn by something ancient. Human scent mixed with pack bond, spread on wind. Elias did not know yet, but Wild recognized him, not as prey, not as weak, but as one of theirs. The guardian slept among beasts while sky above watched angry. The Kazathar thought they marked the weakest human. They never guessed they woke something much older and far more relentless. Elias woke to the sound of distant howls rolling through the cave. The pack stirred around him. Riven rose first and stretched long legs. Silver fur caught faint blue light from glowing fungi. Elias sat up slow. His bad legs still ached, but less sharp now. The neural tag glowed steady on his neck. Pain came in waves, but he learned to breathe through it. He rubbed the spot gentle. Riven watched him close, then bumped head against his shoulder. Elias smiled small and scratched behind one scarred ear. The big warg rumbled deep and pleased. Days turned into weeks on Virak's fang. Elias no longer counted time by hours. He counted by hunts, by warm sleeps, by new scars on his hands from climbing ice. The pack taught him their world without words. They showed him safe paths through razor ridges. They led him to hidden vents where heat rose steady. They brought kills and dropped meat at his feet. Elias learned to skin with sharp rocks. He ate raw at first, then found dry lichen to wrap around strips and make rough jerky. His body changed slow. Thin arms gained thin muscle. Limp grew less noticeable from constant walking. His skin toughened against cold wind. One night, a storm hit hard. Wind screamed through cave mouth. Snow piled high inside. Riven pulled Elias deeper to warmest chamber. Young wargs curled tight around him. Their fur made thick blanket. Elias pressed close and listened to steady heartbeats. He felt safe for first time since drop. That night he dreamed of greenhouse on Epsilon Verge. Soft lights, green moss, quiet peace. He woke with wet eyes, but wiped them quick. Riven licked his cheek once gentle. Elias hugged thick neck and whispered, "You are my home now." The pack grew bigger. Every day new wargs arrived from far ridges. They came alone or in small groups. Each one sniffed Elias long and careful. Then they bowed heads low and joined the circle around him. Elias learned their names in his mind. Scar stood tall with torn ear. Blaze had white streak down back. Mist moved quiet like shadow. The pack now numbered over 50. Riven ruled them all, but treated Elias like equal, sometimes like young. To guard Elias felt strange pride. He never led before. Now he walked at center, and pack followed. He started to understand their talk better. Low rumbles meant calm. Short barks meant danger. Ear flicks showed direction. Tail sweeps warned of strangers. Elias tried sounds back. Riven answered patient. He learned to rumble approval when food tasted good. He learned sharp yip to call attention. The pack listened. They tilted heads and replied. Elias felt bond grow deep. Something in human scent mixed with pack scent now. They groomed him like one of their own. Rough tongues cleaned his hair and hands. Elias laughed. Quiet. First time in weeks. The Kazathar sent scouts next. Small teams landed quiet on far side of valley. They wore thick armor and carried long guns. Elias smelled their fear on wind before he saw them. Riven sensed it too. The Alpha stood tall and howled warning. The pack exploded. Into motion, they flowed across ice like dark river. Elias stayed back near cave mouth. He watched from high rock. Heart pounded, but he trusted them. The scouts never reached close. The pack hit from all sides. Claws ripped armor. Tusks punched weak spots. Guns fired wild, but wargs moved too fast. One scout screamed, then silence. Others ran, but pack chased them down. Elias turned away when last one fell. He did not like killing, but he knew choice was gone. The Kazathar wanted him dead now, more than slave, more than example. They wanted proof their way still worked. Word spread through warg packs across the moon. Howls carried news far. Elias' bomb scent traveled on fur and breath. More wargs came. Hundreds answered call from distant dens. They filled valleys. They lined ridges. Their eyes glowed in dark. Elias stood on high point one evening and looked out. Hundreds of shapes moved below. All watched him. All waited. Riven pressed against his side. Elias put hand on thick ruff. He felt power in quiet. Trust. Something old woke inside him. Not anger, not hate, just stubborn will to protect what chose him. The Kazathar grew angry. Commander ordered bigger force. 3 skiffs landed heavy with warriors. They brought machines rolling tanks with spinning blades. They brought poison darts and fire launchers. They marched toward Main Den Valley. Elias watched from ridge. Pack gathered, silent below him. He raised one hand slow. Every warg froze. Then he dropped hand. Pack surged forward like black wave. Battle lasted short. Warriors fired fast, but wards dodged between rocks. They tunneled under ice and came up behind. Machines they climbed tanks and tore at joints. One tank exploded in bright flash. Others stalled in deep snow. Elias directed from high. He pointed to weak spots. Pack listened. They struck where armor looked thin. They pulled warriors from cover. They fought smart, not wild. Elias felt strange calm. He limped less now. His voice stayed steady when he called directions. Kazathar broke after 1 hour. They ran back to skiffs. Engines roared loud as they lifted. Warriors left dead behind. Smoke rose from wrecked machines. Elias stood still. Pack returned to him. Blood on fur but heads high. Riven licked his hand once. Elias knelt and hugged Big Neck. "Thank you," he said, quiet. Pack rumbled back as one. Sound shook ground. Elias felt it in bones. Commander watched screens. His mandibles clicked fast. "The runt commands them," he hissed. "Impossible. He lives. He grows stronger." Scouts report Pax join him daily. "We marked weakest. Now he leads army." Commander ordered retreat for now, but he planned bigger strike. He called mothership closer. He wanted orbital fire to end it. Elias sat by warm vent that night. Pax slept close. Riven curled around him like shield. Elias looked at neural tag. It glowed dimmer now. Pain felt dull. He touched it and winced less. He whispered to Dark, "I was weakest. Now I am not alone." He closed eyes. Sleep came easy. Far across moon more howls rose. Endless chorus answered his call. Pax migrated through storms. They crossed frozen seas. They climbed high peaks. All drawn to one scent. Human who bonded deep. Wild claimed him fully. Guardian woke slow but sure. Sothar thought they broke weakest link. They never guessed link would grow into chain. Nothing could break. The storm built quiet on Virak's fang, and Elias stood at its calm center, ready for what came next. Elias stood on the high ridge, looking down at the smoking valley. The wrecked machines still burned. Low flames licked twisted metal. The pack moved quiet around him, cleaning blood from fur, licking wounds. Riven pressed close, silver coats streaked dark. Elias knelt and ran fingers through thick rough. He felt steady now. No more tremble in hands, no more fear in chest. He looked at the neural tag on his neck. It glowed faint blue. Pain stayed dull like old bruise. He touched it once and did not wince much anymore. Word of the fight spread fast. Howls carried news across frozen seas and ice mountains. Packs from far dens answered. More wards arrived every day. They came in long lines, noses low, tails high. Each one sniffed Elias long, then bowed head and joined the growing circle. Hundreds turned into thousands. Elias walked among them now. They parted gentle when he moved. He learned more names. Frost with white paws, Thunder with deep voice, Shadow who moved silent. He spoke to them soft, back like they understood. The Kazathar did not wait long. They sent bigger force. Skiffs landed heavy with fresh warriors. They brought armored walkers, tall machines with long guns. They brought hover sleds loaded with poison traps. They marched toward the main den valley. Elias watched from high ground. Pack gathered silent below. Riven stood at his side, ears forward. Elias raised one hand. Pack waited. He dropped hand and pointed to left flank. Pack split smooth. Half flowed around rocks, half tunneled under ice. Elias stayed back. He used salvaged comm gear from wrecked skiff. He listened to Kazathar chatter. Angry voices clicked fast. They called him mutant. They called him witch. They wanted him dead most of all. The battle started at dawn. Warriors fired plasma bolts. Ice melted in bright flashes. Wards dodged quick. They used cover of snowdrifts and deep cracks. They struck from below, bursting up through frozen ground. Claws ripped tracks from walkers. Tusks punched armor joints. Toppled, slow crushing warriors beneath. Elias pointed again. Pack shifted focus. They hit poison sleds. Hard. Wargs carried lichen he taught them about. The green stuff grew everywhere. He showed them how to crush it into paste, smear on tusks and claws. Neurotoxin worked fast. Warriors convulsed, dropped guns. Pack finished them quick. No mercy now. Elias watched calm. He knew what waited if they lost. Sathar pulled back after midday. They left many dead. Skiffs lifted fast. Smoke trailed behind. Elias walked down to valley. Pack followed close. He checked fallen wargs. Some still breathed. He knelt by one young one with torn side. He pressed clean snow to wound. Riven brought dried moss. Elias wrapped it tight. The young warg licked his hand, weak. Elias whispered, "You fought well. Rest now." Pack gathered around. The young one closed eyes slow. Elias felt heavy weight in chest. He stood and looked at sky. Ships still watched high up. Night fell cold. Elias sat by geothermal vent. Pack curled close. He worked. On salvaged gear. He fixed small scanner. He learned Kazathar planned big strike. Mothership came closer. They wanted to burn whole valley from orbit. Elias shared news with Pack through low rumbles and gestures. They understood threat. They grew restless. Pacing low growls filled cave. Elias stood, he walked to cave mouth. Thousands of eyes glowed back at him. He raised both hands. Pack fell silent. He spoke soft words. "They do not fear us yet, but they will learn. We protect our own. We do not break, we do not run. We endure." Next days brought more war. Kazathar dropped bait traps laced with strong poison. Wargs sniffed careful. They avoided most. Elias taught them signs of bad scent. They marked safe paths with scratches on ice. They hunted smarter. They struck supply lines. They cut power cables to machines. They made Kazathar chase shadows. Elias moved with Pack now. He limped less. His body grew lean and hard from constant march. He carried small pack of lichen paste. He smeared it on warg tusks before hunts. He directed from ridges using hand signals. Pack obeyed fast. They trusted him complete. One raid went deep. Kazathar set ambush in narrow pass. Elias sensed trap. He stopped Pack. They waited hidden. Warriors came confident. Guns ready. Pack hit from high slopes. Snow avalanches buried half. Wargs finished rest. Elias walked through aftermath. He found Kazathar officer still alive. Armor cracked. Officer stared up, mandibles trembling. "You should be dead," he hissed. Elias knelt close. "I was marked weakest, but your mark woke something older. I protect now what you tried to break." Elias stood. Officer laughed weak, then died. Elias turned away. Pack waited patient. Mothership arrived at last. Big shadow blocked gas giant light. It hung low. Engines hummed deep. Elias stood on highest peak. Pack filled plain below. 1,000 strong. Riven at his side. Elias looked up. Ship opened bays. Heavy landers dropped fast. Armored troops marched out. Commander in huge powered suit led them. He pointed straight at Elias. "The human," he roared. "Kill the alpha beast. The rest will scatter." Elias raised one hand. Pack froze. He stepped forward slow. Riven matched pace. Thousands of wargs followed silent. Elias walked down plain toward enemy line. Commander laughed loud through speakers. "You limp. You bleed. You die easy." Elias stopped. He looked straight at Commander. "You marked the weakest human. You forgot we change when someone needs us." Commander fired first. Plasma bolts scorched ground, near Elias' feet. Elias did not flinch. He dropped hand. Pack exploded forward. Like black tide they surged. Warriors fired wild. Wargs dodged between legs. They climbed armor. They tore at joints. They pulled down tall suits. Commander swung huge arms. He crushed skulls. He stepped on fallen wargs. But for every one he killed, 3 more took place. They did not tire. They did not fear, they protected their own. Elias walked through chaos calm. He directed quiet. Pack listened. Commander turned to Elias. He raised cannon. Riven leaped high. Claws sank into armor. Tusks punched visor. Commander roared. Other wards joined. They swarmed suit. They pulled plates free. They dragged Commander down. Elias walked close. Commander looked up. One eye compound lens cracked. "You cannot win," he gasped. Elias knelt. "You already lost. You thought weak stays weak. You forgot pack makes strong." He stood. Commander tried to speak, but wargs finished quiet. Battle ended slow. Kazathar broke. They ran to landers. Engines failed from sabotage. Ships lifted half empty. Mothership pulled back fast. Elias stood in center of plain. Blood on ice, but pack alive. Many wounded, but none left behind. Riven limped to him. Silver fur matted. Elias knelt and hugged thick neck. "You kept me safe. Now I keep you safe." Pack rumbled low. Sound rolled across moon like thunder. Elias looked up. Mothership shrank small. They fled. They would not return. Night came quiet. Elias sat by fire from wrecked machines. Pack curled close. He looked at neural tag. It glowed very dim. Now, almost gone. He touched it last time. Pain stayed small. He smiled small. "Guardian," he whispered. That word felt right. The wild claimed him. The pack guarded him, and he guarded them back. Stronger than before, relentless forever. The mothership hung low above Virak's fang, like a black storm cloud. Engines hummed, deep enough to shake loose ice from ridges. Elias stood on the wide frozen plain. Thousands of shadow wargs filled the space behind him. Their breath made white clouds in the cold air. Riven pressed against his leg, silver fur matted with old blood and new frost. Elias looked up at the giant ship. No fear moved in his chest now, only calm, steady will. He raised one hand, slow. Pack fell silent. Thousands of glowing eyes fixed on him. Heavy landers dropped from the mothership. They hit ground hard, cracking ice. Armored troops poured out, hundreds strong. They formed tight lines, guns pointed forward. The commander stepped last. He wore massive, powered armor, twice the height of a man. Red lights glowed on his helmet. Mandibles clicked loud through external speakers. "This ends now, human. Your beasts die. Your moon burns. Your name fades. We erase weakness." Elias walked forward alone at first. Riven matched every step. Pack stayed back, waiting. Elias stopped halfway across the plain. He looked straight at the towering commander. "You marked me weakest. You branded me slave. You dropped me here to die slow. You thought that broke us. You were wrong." Commander laughed. Sharp sound echoed off ice. "You speak bold for a limping thing. Your pack bleeds. Your friends watch from far. They see you fall. They learn fear again." Elias shook head slow. "We do not learn fear from pain. We learn protection. We learn pack. We learn never leave the weak behind. You taught us that lesson best." Commander raised one huge arm. Cannon on wrist glowed bright. Plasma built hot. Elias did not move. He dropped his hand. Pack surged forward like dark sea wave. They ran silent. No growls. No barks. Just thousands of pounding legs on ice. Wargs hit the front line fast. Claws tore at armor plates. Tusks punched visor joints. Warriors fired wild bolts, lit the plain bright. Wargs dodged between legs. They climbed fallen bodies. They pulled down tall suits. Commander swung wide. He crushed 3 wargs with one sweep. He stepped forward. Boot cracked ice. Elias walked closer, calm through the chaos. Riven leaped high. Claws sank deep into armor shoulder. Tusks scraped across helmet. Commander roared and shook hard. Riven held tight. Other wargs joined. They swarmed up legs. They tore at knee joints. They ripped power cables. Sparks flew. Commander staggered. Elias reached the commander. He stood small under the giant suit. He looked up through cracked visor. One compound eye stared back, red and angry. Commander tried to aim wrist cannon. Elias raised empty hands. No weapon, no armor. Just quiet stare. "You wanted example," he said. "You got one." Wargs pulled harder. Armor plates popped free. Commander fired last plasma bolt. It scorched ground near Elias's feet. Smoke rose. Elias stepped over it. He reached up and touched the cracked visor. Commander froze, mandibles trembling. "You cannot win," he hissed, voice weak now. Elias spoke soft. "We already did. Marked the weakest human. We marked you as threat. Pack protects its own. We do not stop. We do not break. We endure." Riven lunged again. Tusks punched through neck seal. Air hissed out. Commander dropped to one knee. Suit groaned under weight. Thousands of wargs circled close. They waited. Elias knelt beside fallen giant. He looked into fading eye. "You forgot something, old," he said. "When you hurt the small, the big wakes. When you chain the weak, the free run. When you brand one human, the wild claims him all." Commander tried to speak. Gurgled sound came instead. Then silence. Elias stood. He turned to Pack. Riven limped to him, blood on muzzle, but head high. Elias knelt and wrapped arms around thick neck. "You kept me alive. Now we keep each other." Pack rumbled low. Sound rolled across plain like slow thunder. Thousands joined. Voice shook snow from ridges. Landers tried to lift. Warriors ran back. Engines failed from sabotage. Wargs had torn fuel lines earlier. Ships crashed short. Mothership above fired desperate orbital bolts. Bright lines stabbed down. Ice exploded in white fire. Wargs scattered fast. Elias pointed to cover. Pack flowed into cracks and tunnels. They waited storm out. Bolts stopped after minutes. Ship pulled back, engines straining. It turned slow and fled toward stars. Elias stood in center of plain. Smoke curled around him. Pack gathered close. Many limped, many bled, but none lay still. Riven pressed head to his chest. Elias stroked silver fur, gentle. "Thank you," he whispered. "You saw me when no one else did. You guarded me when I could not guard myself. Now I guard you back." Night fell deep. Gas giant rings glowed soft above. Elias sat on low ice ridge. Pack curled around him in thick living blanket. Young wargs slept close to warm vents. Older ones watched ridges. Elias looked at neural tag on neck. It glowed very faint now, almost black. He touched it last time. No sharp pain came, only dull warmth like old scar. He smiled small. "Guardian," he said, word quiet. Name felt right. Howls rose slow at first, then louder. Distant packs answered from every direction. Sound filled sky, sound carried across moon, sound promised more would come. Elias listened long. He felt bond deep in bones. Human scent mixed forever with warg scent. Pack scent marked him theirs. He marked them his. On Epsilon Verge, colonists watched stolen feeds. They saw planes. They saw thousands of wargs. They saw Elias stand tall. No limp now, no glasses needed. His eyes sharp, his face calm. They saw Commander fall. They saw Mothership flee. Cheers rose in colony halls. Tears fell quiet. No one called him Fragile One anymore. They called him Guardian. They spoke his name with pride. Weeks passed. Elias led Pack across moon. They cleared old Kazathar camps. They destroyed poison traps. They marked safe dens with scent scratches. Young wargs grew fast. They played near Elias. They nuzzled his hands. He taught them gentle. He taught them strong. He never raised voice. He never struck. Quiet trust. One evening, Elias stood on high peak, Riven at his side, pack spread below like dark sea. He looked at stars far and bright. He thought of greenhouse dome. He thought of quiet notes. He thought of old life. He smiled soft. That life stayed far. Now, new life bloomed here, cold but warm with pack. Riven rumbled low. Elias knelt and hugged thick neck. "We stay together," he said, "always." Pack answered with rolling howl. Sound echoed forever across Virak's fang. Sound carried promise. Sound carried warning. No raider would return. No slaver would dare. No one would mark human weak again. Because weakest human changed. Because Pack claimed him. Because Guardian woke. And Guardian never sleeps. The wild found its most relentless protector. And humanity learned once more, strength hides in strange places. Sometimes in thin man with bad leg. Sometimes in quiet botanist. Sometimes in heart that refuses to break when loved ones need guard. Elias looked up at rings one last time. At Pack. Thousands waited patient. He stepped forward. Riven followed. Pack moved with him, one step after another, into endless night, into endless watch, into endless bond. They marked the weakest human, and awakened the wild's most relentless guardian.